الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد. Ikhwan, I bring to you a very, very important mas'ala and a very, very important affair regarding the understanding of the correct Tawhid and to know the different categories of Tawhid. And it is something, Ikhwan, that you have heard time and time again. But it is a point that we come across in one of our lessons. And I thought that I would share it with you regarding that important affair of the Tawhid of Uluhiyyah. The Tawhid in the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For verily, due to that fact, Ikhwan, is what took place with the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in his time, and how he waged war against a people that they affirmed the Tawhid al-Rububiyyah. The Tawhid al-Rububiyyah, for those of you that are not aware of that, is to believe that Allah is your Lord, and to believe that it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that created you, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sustains you, and He is the one that gives life, and He is the one that brings about death. These are some of the aspects of Tawhid al-Rububiyyah. The mushrikeen of Quraysh, they believed in the Tawhid al-Rububiyyah. But with this, Ikhwan, it did not enter them into the fold of Islam. To show you how important it is, Ikhwan, that we understand these categories of Tawheed. Because it could be, Ikhwan, that we are falling into some aspects of shirk, and you may not even know. You could be falling in some aspects of shirk and your actions are being nullified, yet you don't even know, and you don't even understand. Then, wajib ala kulli muslimin wa muslimatin. It is obligatory upon every male and female Muslim that they have knowledge of this. وَبِهِ أَرْسَلَ اللَّهُ الرُّسُلَ. And the messenger, and Allah Azza wa Jal, He sent the prophets with this call, the call of Uluhiyyah. Allah Azza wa Jalla mentions in the Quran, وَلَقَدْ بَعَثْنَا فِي كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ رَسُولًا أَنِ اعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَاجْتَنِبُوا الطَّاغُوتَ. And we have sent to every nation a messenger, ordering them to worship Allah alone and stay away from the false taghut. This ordering of worshipping Allah alone, that is the Tawheed of Uluhiyyah. In this verse, Ikhwan, it is a proof. فهذا دليل على دعوة التوحيد الألوهية وتحذير الشرك. In this verse, it shows, and it's a proof, the call to the Tawheed of Uluhiyyah. This is what the messengers were sent with, and the warning of staying away from shirk. And this was, Ikhwan, the call of all of the prophets. This is what the prophets they called to when they were sent to their nations. قال الله عز وجل ولقد أرسلنا نوحا إلى قومه فقال يا قوم اعبدوا الله ما لكم من إله غيره إني أخاف عليكم عذاب يوم عظيم. The story of Nuh. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that when we sent Nuh to his people, he said to his people, worship Allah alone. What is wrong with you that you are worshipping other than Him? Verily, I fear for you a day or a very severe punishment. That call of worship Allah alone is the Tawheed of Uluhiyyah. Likewise, Hud. يا قوم اعبدوا الله ما لكم من إله غيره أفلا تتقون. The same. That worship one Lord, worship Allah, your Lord. What is wrong with you? Do you not fear? Salih, Shu'aib, all of them had the same call. Isa ben Maryam likewise. Inna Allah Rabbi wa Rabbakum fa'budu. Verily Allah is my Lord and He's your Lord. So worship Allah alone. And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam likewise commanded, وَاعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَلَا تُشْرِكُوا بِهِ شَيْئًا. Worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone and ascribe no partners. So why is it extremely important, ikhwan, that we understand the categories? Tawhid al-Rububiyyah, Tawhid al-Uluhiyyah, and the Tawhid wal-Asma wal-Sifat. Shaykh Salih al-Fawzan, Hafidhullah Ta'ala, he has some beautiful statement in this regard. He says, هذا هو محل النزاع بين الرسل وبين الأمم. فالرسل يقولون للأمم واعبدوا الله ولا تشركوا به شيئا، ولكن المشركين أبوا إلا أن بقى على عبادة الأصنام. Shaykh Salih Fawzan says this was the key argument and the key disagreement between the prophets and their people. This element here of worshipping Allah alone. When the Prophet said to their people, worship Allah alone and ascribe no partners, they refused. They refused and they remained upon worshipping the idols. فالخصومة بين الرسل وبين الأمم هي في التوحيد الألوهية. Shaykh Salih al-Fawzan, he says that the key difference and the argumentation between the prophets and their people was in the Tawhid of Uluhiyyah, not in the Tawhid of Rububiyyah, because they established the Tawhid of Rububiyyah. The proof of this, إن المشركين فهموا معنى لا إله إلا الله. The polytheists at the time of the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they understood the meaning of La ilaha illallah. They understood. وَأَنَّهُ التَّوْحِيدُ الْأُلُوهِيَّةِ. They knew that it was the Tawheed of Uluhiyyah. And the Uluhiyyah here is regarding worshipping Allah alone. And they knew it was not to do with the Rububiyyah. And this is why Shaykh Salih al-Fawzan, he says, لَمَّا قَالَ لَهُمْ نَبِيُّ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ قُولُوا لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. So when the Messenger said to them, worship Allah alone and ascribe no partners, listen to what their answer was. They said, أَجَعَلَ آلِهَةَ إِلَهٌ وَاحِدًا إِنَّ هَذَا لَشَيْءٌ عُجَابٌ. They said, that have you made the gods one? This is a very, very strange affair, because they would worship different idols. They had different gods. So when the Messenger said to them, قُولُوا لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ, this is what their answer was. And in another verse it mentions that إِنَّ لَتَارِكُ لِآلِهَتِنَا لِشَاعِرٍ مَجْنُونَ. Are we going to leave our gods for this mad poet? دليل أن أنهم فهموا معنى لا إله إلا الله. This is a clear proof that they understood the meaning of La ilaha illallah. How is it a proof? Because it was not the mere uttering of words. Like how today we have individuals that say La ilaha illallah but they don't know its meaning. But with the mushrikeen, at the time of the Messenger, they understood exactly what that word meant. It meant not just mere uttering, but it meant singling Allah alone in worship. And they could not do that. This is why they said, when the Messenger said to them, say, قُولُوا لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. Say, La ilaha illallah. It was a word that the Messenger was requesting from them. But they could not utter it. They could not say it. Had they said it, it would necessitate they would have to act upon it. And they knew what it meant. It wasn't just mere words, but it was action. And that action was to leave and abandon their gods and worship Allah alone. And they couldn't do this. So this is why they said, are we to leave all of our gods and worship one God? This is something strange. Are we to leave our gods and follow this mad poet? So this is, ikhwan, the proof that they understood the ma'na of La ilaha illallah. And likewise, they affirmed the Rububiyyah. The Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not come to them and call to them to Rububiyyah, but rather it was Uluhiyyah. And for those individuals that say La ilaha illallah, it carries the meaning of La khaliq yakhluqu illallah, La razik yarzuqu illallah. The one that says that the ma'na of La ilaha illallah, as you find today, they say La ilaha illallah means that there is no creator except for Allah alone. There is no one that sustains except for Allah alone. This is what they say La ilaha illallah means. فهذا قول يستلزم أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قاتل أناس المسلمين يعترفون بلا إله إلا الله وهذا قول باطل. If we was to say that La ilaha illallah meant that Allah, there is no creator except for Allah, and there is no one that sustains except for Allah, if we said that's its meaning, then that would necessitate that the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam came to a people, waged war against a people, made their blood lawful and their wealth lawful, yet they were Muslims. This is what it necessitates. Why? Because Ar-Rububiyyah is to affirm that Allah is your creator. Allah has created you and He sustains you. The Uluhiyyah is that you should worship Allah alone. And the mushrikeen, they did affirm, if you question them, who is your Lord? They will say Allah. Who created you? Allah. Who sustains you? Allah. So they established the Rububiyyah. But with that fact, still, it did not enter them into Islam. It did not bring them into Islam. And the Messenger, he waged war against them. So anyone says that La ilaha illallah means the Rububiyyah, then that necessitates that you are saying our Messenger got it wrong. That our Messenger fought against the people that were Muslims because they said that Allah is our creator. Which clearly shows, Ikhwan, that the Uluhiyyah is what the messengers they were sent with. So Ikhwan, on that note, it is extremely important that you understand these aspects of Tawhid. At the time of the Messenger, if you establish Rububiyyah and you did not establish the Uluhiyyah, then you would not be a Muslim. Yet in our time today, we have individuals that say La ilaha illallah with ease. But in their Uluhiyyah, in their worship, you find that they call to graves. They call to other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They share partners and yet they say La ilaha illallah. They say La ilaha illallah. But Ikhwan, it's a very, very important affair. You may have heard this before, but remember, now for those individuals that do not establish the Uluhiyyah, they're not seeing the consequences. But had you been at the time of the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he would not have entered you into Islam. So we ask Allah Azza wa Jal to give us understanding of the correct Tawheed, so we may be able to fulfill that which Allah has requested from us and stay away from that which will nullify our deeds. And shirk, which is something which can never be forgiven. If an individual dies upon shirk, then from the nas, from the kitab and the sunnah, it shows that that individual will never be forgiven regarding the shirk if he dies upon that. And we ask Allah for afiyah. Aqulu qawli hadha, astaghfiru li wa lakum, fastaghfiruhu, innahu huwal ghafurur rahim. الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة المتقين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد. Another problem that we face today, Ikhwan, is regarding the call of Tawheed. When you call to the Tawheed, is that this Tawheed, the da'wah of the Rusul, the da'wah and the call of the prophets, it may be alien and it may be strange to certain individuals. For verily, their fathers and their grandfathers may have been upon something else. And due to the fact and the ihtiram and the respect for their elders and their forefathers, and due to the fact that they're not acquainted to anything else except that, it is a very hard affair for them to leave that. When the truth comes to them, it is extremely difficult for them to accept this. Shaykh Salih al-Fawzan, he says, يَقُولُونَ الْيَوْمَ هَذَا دِينُ آبَائِنَا وَأَجْدَادِنَا. That when that call is given to them, they say this is the religion of our fathers and our forefathers. This is the answer. And many of us may have been through this. Many of us have been through this. Those of our parents and our families that are non-Muslims, then they want to remain upon the religion that they were raised with, what their father and mother taught them. And as for those who were saying that they are Muslims and from amongst the Muslims, but their aqidah and their creed and their tawheed is corrupted, they don't want to change because that's what they're used to. Sheikh Salih al-Fawzan, he says, this is the same example. إن أبا طالب عند الوفاة لما طلب منه رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أن يقول لا إله إلا الله أبى أن يقول لها وقال هو على ملة عبد المطلب وملة عبد المطلب إبادة الأصنام. Sheikh Salih al-Fawzan says, look, this is the exact same example, same argument. This is the religion of our father and our forefathers. The same example of the uncle of the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Abu Talib, when he was on his deathbed, the Messenger said to him, say La ilaha illallah. But then he could not say it. He said, verily I am upon the religion of Abdul Muttalib. And Abdul Muttalib, that religion of his was worshipping the idols. Same argument. And what was his jaza? What did he receive? For verily the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has mentioned that he is in the hellfire because he died upon disbelief. And what we're trying to emphasize, ikhwan, these are a people that affirmed the rububiyyah. They affirmed Allah was their Lord. They affirm that Allah is the one that gives life and is the taker of life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He governs and orchestrates this qawn, this universe. They all affirm this. Yet, the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that they are in the hellfire. Due to the fact that it does establish the uluhiyyah, the tawhid of uluhiyyah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Sheikh Salih Fawzan, he says, Inna hadha al-amr khatir wal-'ar al-shani'. He said, this is a very, very dangerous affair. It is something which is outrageous, a dangerous affair. فَالْوَاجِبْ عَلَى الْمُسْلِمِينَ. So it is obligatory upon the Muslims that they should give importance to their religion. وَيَتَأَمَّلُوا دَعْوَةُ نَبِيِّهِمْ. And reflect and learn regarding the call of their Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. وَيَفْقَهُ دِينَهُمْ فِقْهًا صَحِيحًا. That they should learn their religion and understand their religion in the correct manner. ويقيموا على أساس السليم من عقيدة التوحيد والبراءة من الشرك وأهله. And they should establish and have a sound foundation. Their foundation should be sound and they should be free of shirk and its people. So ikhwan, this is the advice of our scholars. This is what the messengers they call to. This is what the Sahaba they call to. And all of A'imma, of the great Imams, they call to this message. So don't take it lightly, ikhwan. Don't take it lightly. As I have mentioned, in our time now, we have individuals that say La ilaha illallah, but with that, they worship the graves. They call upon to the jinns. They go to individuals and request the hukuk that only Allah can give. Yet they are saying La ilaha illallah. But in the time of the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that would not enter them into Islam. So it's something to reflect upon. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us from those individuals that are upon the sound aqidah and the sound tawheed, and we die upon that. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. أقيموا الصلاة يرحمكم الله.